What's up, guys? It's Brett here. Just going to be going over how to use the scanner today. I know a lot of you guys have been asking about it. We just added it a few weeks ago. So I just wanted everyone to understand how everything works. So first of all, you might have seen like ESZ or GCZ or CL. Those are a couple tickers for futures. They're going to actually be put into the futures chat. So if anybody has been following those, you'll see them there. Those of you who just follow us for options, you won't have to worry about seeing those anymore flooding the chat after this video is posted. But anyway, essentially how the scanner works, right, is it's linked to our TradingView account. So the Sane Scanner bot's my bot, so it's linked to my TradingView. Gandalf Gains is Vinny. Solomon Scanners, Not Your Father's Broker. Argent Bots Dario. DA Bots DA. Fire Fongers Fong. Robo Tim is Timmy. So everybody knows that they're here. Henny Bot is the Don Hole. Right now, Gavin Harris. So anyway, those are all our admin. But anyway, guys, let's go over how to use the scanner anyway. So first of all, let's see how it works. So this is on Wednesday, November 20th, right? We had an alert, Netflix crossing 303. Look for weekly calls as scalps, 305s. So now we're going to try to make these all noted just like this, but essentially what this means is Netflix is crossing 303. Usually it says crossing up for most of them, or crossing down. But if it says crossing and it says calls, most likely that means that it broke through that level up. So even if it doesn't say crossing up, obviously that's probably a bullish signal. So let's look at it. It's at 936, right? So how did this happen? Basically, right here, we'll remove indicators. Okay. So basically, this is the 20th, same day, and basically it said breaking 303, all right? So let's pull it back up. Crossing 303. Look for weekly calls. So basically what happened is we had an alert set. I had it, this was the first 5-minute close, right? So I wanted it to push above basically right here. So I set an alert, and then I just added those notes in here, and then it just sends the alert to you guys. But anyway, we saw that it kind of sold off a little bit pre-market, and it was a pretty bullish day for the market overall, pre-market. So for the S&P, and most stocks started to push in the beginning of the day also. So I set that alert up right after the first couple minutes. I saw that we weren't exactly breaking the high here yet, so I wanted to enter some calls. Figured we'd break this resistance from the previous day. So we had a nice follow through candle here. So basically once that alert went off, essentially what would have happened is you want to click the thread, see if I commented anything, and I said right there in 305 at 290. So right away I posted that I was in. So you can, if you want, you can wait, because most of us will post that what we're doing based on the scanner alert. But if you already know how to pick options really well, and if you don't, you'll definitely learn as you are in the group longer. But if you know how to pick the options yourself, then of course, look for weekly scalps. So what does that mean? Today's Wednesday, the day that the alert was sent out. So you'd go with a Friday expiration, right, for weekly calls. Weekly means the same week. 305 strike price, 290. So I paid $290 for that, right? So then we got in there, and then I just updated what we did based on the scanner here. So I said trim Netflix 20% gains so far. And then eventually it was up 75%, 80%. So we closed the trade around there. $235 in 13 minutes. Now let's look at another alert. So right here we have Twilio. Twilio crossing this 105.14 T2 hit. So this means that we were in a Twilio signal and it hit our second target. So T1, T2, those are our targets, our first target, our second target, etc. If you see something like this, Tesla crossing 360 reclaiming, look for longs to 365. So if it says look for longs or it's reclaiming, that means you need confirmation. So let's look at Tesla, 942 on Wednesday. Tesla. Ba, ba, ba. 360.60. So here. So I had an alert set right here for a pump above the previous close, excuse me, from the day before. So we had the highs right at around 360, right on the pretty much right on the wicks of all these candles. And we were looking for a break above. So we saw a little action pre-market to pump up a little bit. We're up to about 360, almost 363, 362.75. And then it dipped down. So I set an alert. We wanted to see that it pushed through. So when it says look for longs, reclaiming something, something that's not necessarily saying X, do this now, like the Netflix signal did, then you want to have confirmation. So what's confirmation? You would have wanted to see a bullish candle. You would have wanted to see something like a close up here, or a candle that, for instance, if let's say we wanted to go long, we would have wanted to close like this. Let's say we wanted to break this level here, 361. We would have wanted to close like this in order to go long. So we didn't get that confirmation. We didn't have a candle close. You always want to wait for a candle close too, because a lot can happen in that 5-minute period. As you can see, action all the way up to 361.19, all the way down to 358.63. Ended up closing literally pretty much right where it opened. So make sure you guys are watching candle closes for the confirmation before going in the scanner alerts also, if they don't say anything to do exactly, or if we don't post what we are doing. Also, some of the alerts will have a chart. So for instance, I can actually take a screenshot of this, for instance, copy it, and when I set an alert, I can post that link in here and it'll post it to the scanner also. So if you see something like this, right? Shop 5, shop 5. Whenever you see like 5 or D or 15 or anything like that, that's the time frame. That's the time frame it's on. So this shop 5 is shop 5-minute crossing up the trend line. Is it time to long? So what that is, this obviously is an older picture because I drew this line before it crossed above the trend line. But what I'm showing you is the chart and why I would long here. So clearly we have a trend line holding price down. Once we saw a break up, that's when you'd want to long. And you want to get confirmation of it breaking above the trend line with a close above the trend line, and usually you want to see some increasing volume. You could even wait one more candle after closing above for confirmation. Some of the notes that we have are like red to green and moving, just good to note and to take a look at. Not exactly something you take as a signal, but obviously this information can help with signals. AMD crossing 4104. Watch close here for further movement up. Weeklies are cheap. So I don't think I got in this at all. Some of the alerts, I'll say if I'm in. I'll literally comment on pretty much all of them. But you guys can take them as is. And most of these alerts, the scanner alerts, because they are at key levels, you usually want to close them pretty tight. So for instance, if it closes above a level, you want your stop loss to be a little bit below where your entry level was, because these are supposed to be pretty much very, very quick plays, unless it's like on a daily time frame that we have listed. Let's see, Uber. I guess we entered an Uber trade. So whenever we usually enter a trade also, I'll also set up the targets. So, Vinny had a swing signal, I think, a few days before this for Uber, yeah. And it hit this target 27.98, so I said T1 was hit. So you can actually look at the scanner for alerts on when our targets are hit also if we're in like a swing trade. Baba, this is a Baba play we had. This is the shot play, up 110% since alert. So right after this alert, up 110% if you went long. I missed that trade myself. I don't take all these either, but they're good to do. So here's another one: ADBE crossing HOD. HOD's high of day, LOD's low of day. Look for 1220 longs to all-time high. So this is obviously a swing trade. Again, this is the futures that we're talking about here. ZM crossing 71.21. Look for push and close above to swing to $75 plus. So this is actually something we did. We actually took this ZM swing trade. I think it was up about 100% when we closed it also. And that was on the daily time frame. So push and close above. Look for push and close above to swing to $75. UNH crossing 273.76. Watch for move up here to HOD and then 275. UNH pretty much took off right there. Closed right above this level, right? These 275s were up in about a half hour, 20%. Let me just skip these alerts here. I'll go over those in a second. Obviously, you can see UNH. I set up the levels again, crossing 274, 275. This was an insane play. I think this was like an unbelievable. I think it was like 1,300% or something like that we made on some of these. ZM crossing back above 71.04, above 71, good into the close like we want. And that's when we went long on ZM. Here's Uber, our second target. But anyway, let's go over this too. So Tim also sets up the hammers made on most of the big cap, high liquid stocks that we play, such as AMD, Netflix, Amazon, right? So at 1:14, there was a 5-minute hammer made on session low. So at 1:14 on Wednesday, let's look at that for Netflix. All right. So it's roughly all right. So roughly right here. So whenever you see a hammer printed, so this candle pretty much printed it ended at 115 obviously. So you use this candle as the one you're looking at, the one that starts at 110, because obviously the alert goes out when the candle finishes being formed. So these are 5-minute candles. So from 110 to 115, the alert would be sent out around 115 or 114 and maybe 50 seconds or so, something like that. So anyway, so you'd see a hammer here. So what you could do is you could enter. This is on the session low, right? So this candle made a new low, or was even with the open pretty much, so the low of day, right? Then when it closed, it formed a hammer. So we have a hammer here. So it's usually a good point of a reversal. So you could have actually gone in here, right? And if you did go in, what you would want to do is, as long as it's not too long of a wick like this, you'd want to put your stop loss right below here, right below the wick most likely, and then you could go long. So you actually wouldn't have got stopped out. You would have entered right around 302.62, and you might have been able to scalp for a few dollars. Let's see, 304.34. So yeah, you probably would have made like 25-30% just alone on this move right here. And actually it continued up, so if you swung, you'd be in a good position also. But if you're looking at just the daily hammer on the 5, if you're looking at the same day, excuse me, a hammer made on the 5-minute, you probably are only doing a scalp, so you would probably take profits pretty quick on this trade, especially if it's at around 1. Obviously, with the market closing in 3 hours, probably be a quick trade. So yeah, that's just an example of how to look at the scanner and understand everything that's going on. Let me see if there's anything else. Not much. I mean, everything's pretty much just targets, entries that we have. For instance, I mean, we can even go to like, there wasn't too much action here. Let's see. So something like this, right? This was the open on, let's see, Friday, on Wednesday. I'd probably have set an alert, like right here, right? And I'd say look for closing above open range bodies, so open range candle bodies, right here. Obviously, the open range would be all the way up here because of the wicks. Well, depends what you'd classify as the open range. The open range usually is the first candle, 9:30. But obviously, if it's later in the day, I might set it for about the first hour of the day or something. But anyway, closing above open range bodies. So right here, I'd probably set an alert. Obviously, price was getting rejected around these levels. We had a nice push through them here, close right at resistance, and then probably would have switched to the 1 minute, or you could have entered prematurely right here with a stop loss, somewhere like right here or so, and then kind of just ran up to, whoops, ran up to 3.6, pretty much 317 almost at the highs. So that would have been a nice little scalp, $1.50. So what's that, like a 0.5% almost for Netflix? So 0.4%. So you probably would have made 15-20% gains. Pretty quick trade. At least 15-20%. Pretty quick trade for Netflix. So something like that is how we'd set it. We'd set it like this. When the price crosses above, it sends the alert to the scanner. So that's just an idea of how it works, guys. Usually the stop losses aren't set too much on all of these, but we try to set them as much as we can. But that's about it, I think. Let me look at the scanner, see if there's anything else that we've had. No, that's it. If it says like crossing trend line, remember, something like this. Or here we go, SPY 5 crossing horizontal array. So if you see something like this, you probably want to look first at what price it's at, right? So at 314, 314 SPY 5-minute long. So he's saying go long. Obviously, if he's saying go long, that means it broke one of these resistances, right? So the only horizontal line that would make sense if you wanted to go long would be this one right here, because it's breaking the resistance. If it was probably breaking here, he'd probably say enter puts. And then that signal actually printed as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. The other thing too with the hammers is if it says printed on session high, it would be pretty much the opposite of what I showed you at Netflix. So if we saw like something, here we go, this is a perfect example right here, right? Pretty much this candle was the session high. It hit the high of the session right here at one point, and it ended up closing as an inverse hammer here. So this indicates downtrend, so this would have been assigned to short also. But remember, you usually want confirmation. If you don't have confirmation, make sure you keep your stop tight right above the wick of your entry. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. Let me know if you have any questions. Drop them in the comments below. Ask me definitely in our questions chat channel on the group. Otherwise, that's it. Hope you guys understand this and it clears things up for everyone. Makes it a lot easier for you guys to understand the signals given to you in the scanner. All right, guys. Talk to you later.